What is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, cloud swing traders? Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. We got Albert in the house. Good morning to you. Good morning to Amy, Andy, Bill, Frank, GW, Jeffrey. Good morning to Keith. Lauren's in the house. Morning to Malik, Marius, Martina. Malik, were you? I believe you're the one in the Cliff trade yesterday. It just ran like crazy. Were you? Did you end up getting more on that one? Marius in the house. Good morning to you, Martina, Rick, Tim, Wendy. All my people out in YouTube land, Clarice, Craig, Jeff, LC, M Sky, all my people out in YouTube land, even the quiet ones, the lurkers in the background. It's okay, I still love you. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button, but we'll see. We'll see. Market is just hanging in there. It's trying its best. It's trying its absolute best to hang in. We got right into another resistance. Still inside. So this is our second day inside Friday's little panic attack sell-off type candle. So we will see what happens there. But gap and go to the bear side. We do have what should have been support, 603.02. We did hold that one nicely yesterday. Today, not so much. But we're opening at a small little. I don't think this one's gonna hold too much or be too significant. But we got 602.57. Malik says only a few pennies on that one. Yeah, that one even after hours just kept going absolutely wild, but pretty good, man, pretty good. And then support for today, I would have to say the first real one, 601.42, and then you got 685. If the Bulls pull out a surprise, Bulls should golfing on a 5 minute chart of SPY right now, still below the 10 in the VWAP. But if we could get above 603.02, I think we're forced to look into the 604.86. This would be our second time up into that range with a potential to break and then targets 607.15. So if the Bulls can get going a little bit, it might be a little if we could do a little work, we could do a lot of work. Let's put it that way. And we'll see. But right now, just hanging out. Big numbers tomorrow. So maybe we don't do much today. Maybe we do just end either inside this candle, or if anybody is concerned or worried about inflation, maybe there's a little bit more selling into the report for tomorrow. Otherwise, big numbers tomorrow. And then I think we have like, I don't know why, but they're splitting up the they're splitting up the CPI to 2 days. So we get fun on Wednesday and Thursday with that. Still some earnings coming out after hours, so that does have potential to move markets. The big one for today is SMCI does report, and we get some decent, hopefully guidance news from SMCI, and we'll see if they are a real company or completely fake. We'll see. For the Qs we got again bearish gap and go. So I'd have to lean a little bit to the bear side. Only thing that's not going to make that a strong conviction. We're still really inside this Friday candle. So since Friday, the market really has not done too much. We are up still from Friday's low, so not bad there. Uh, Slightly under where I would like to be. So 525.67. If we could squeeze back above that, that would put the immediate next target into almost retesting this candle, 527.84. To the downside, I'd be looking for some kind of support around 523.76. And then Friday's VPOC, 523, yeah, 76, right in that zone. So that's where I would be looking for today. Anything outside of that range could get a little fun, stronger move. Right now, not a lot of edge in either direction. Almost wait and see, especially opening at a pretty interesting support resistance. TLT, let's see if that's getting any love. Again, tomorrow might be a good day for TLT in either direction. CPI will, I think, affect this one pretty decently, with probably the rest of the market just to have an idea where we're at. Manufacturing numbers did go up for the first time, I think, in like 2 years. So manufacturing in the U.S. is expanding, so that's holding up pretty decently. And we'll see if we get any. We'll see how that kind of affects inflation, and then we'll see what true numbers are as opposed to concerns about inflation uh, from tariffs and things like that. So really, kind of the first real inflation numbers since Trumpy has been president. We'll see. Today, the gap down right now on TLT, so you're at 88.49 for the opening price, or 88.57. looking for some kind of support, filling this gap. For a spot, I don't think this one holds. We're so close to the next one. So 88.49, I would see if you're trying to buy a dip on TLT, 88.41 would be what I would expect to be some kind of decent looking support. Otherwise, this entire move up was for nothing, and and nothing has happened. We'll see. The one that's moving right now, DOMH, there was news pre-market. They halted it and it just opened up at 9 a.m. So keep an eye out for that one. I believe this one has rumors it's a financial company, but you do have some of the Trumps, not Donald himself, but I think Eric and who's the other one? Eric and whatever the other guy's name is. Oh, Don Jr. I think they're sitting on the board. So watch this one. Probably this one will, I guess, circulate throughout the media for most of the day. Fairly early still. If you are looking to buy a dip on it, if it could come back to like this 822, could be interesting. But obviously, anything we saw Trump coin go crazy. This is a very decently unknown stock, and it is pushing now. So I think that one for the watch list should be probably pretty high up there. In fact, I'm going to add this one and we'll watch it because momentum, I think, will come in. It is moving now. So if you guys have pre-market orders out there, you are able to buy stocks before the bell rings. And it did just get released, so keep that one on the list as well. KO had earnings this morning. I believe they had earnings this morning because they are getting that gap up. Yep. So pretty decent earnings. Beat earnings per share by 6.3%. And then you have revenue 721 million to the higher side as well. Coca-Cola, good fun, slow growth, Warren Buffett company. But pretty nice gap on that. This is a retest gap. Are we opening into any resistance on this one? A little bit. We've been fairly low. We're obviously not at all-time highs. That would be $73. So just about $6 away from all-time highs on this one. So not too bad on that one. Good double bottom. My guess would be it's not a Shopify, a Tesla, Nvidia where people want to be in this for the growth. They're in it for the divvies. They're in it for the slow, easy, steady pace. I think a gap like this probably ends up selling off. I don't know how much more bullish I'd want to go. I think your next target up to this one is 68.28. If you get to that and start breaking out of that, maybe you get that run up to like 69. So overall, obviously really good report. I don't know how much of this holds. I'd want to see a pullback. I don't think people aggressively trying to get into Coca-Cola again. It's not really a storied stock on this one. So we'll have to see how that plays out. But I think this one's probably more or less a fade. And I don't even know to the downside how many people really want to short Coca-Cola. I think it's anybody from this last group, sideways chop, looking for maybe good earnings, steady company, probably looking to take some of those gains off the table, I would think. KR Kroger. Yeah, looks decent. Not too bad. Pretty decent gap. I like this location if we actually open here. We still have 20 minutes. That's a fun location though. Small little retest. I think this would be a decent one for high wave candle. When's their earnings come out? So we got time on that. Almost, but not quite at all-time highs. Momentum has been definitely strong in a bullish case on this. Yeah, I would think that if we could get a small pullback, the real pullback spot, 65.27. I don't really think I even want it to get down there. If this is going to remain strong, maybe it's a 65.45 or even just a retest into 65.38. I think that would be a decent high wave play in a bullish direction. Obviously, for this thing to really push, and it is up there already, DOMH is up to $10 already. For this thing to really push, we're going to have to get through the 65.71. Otherwise, there might be some psychological numbers of people trying to take some gains at that price. We shall see. But for right now, yeah, I think it has the ability to get through that. Probably a little hesitation and then look for your push. Kroger looks decent though. Shopify. Look at pre-market range on Shop. Yeah, did Shop have earnings? I think Shop, I believe, had earnings. Yep, they did. Looks like it was a beat and a beat. So beat by 1.55, on earnings per share. They beat by 97.77 million to the higher side. Price for perfection. So this one is much higher. Uh, Pretty much at just yesterday, all 52-week highs or all-time highs. So not a bad play. Not a bad look for Shopify in terms of earnings. Maybe a little bit. People want to take some gains. I think they just started their conference call not too long ago. Probably somewhere in this range of I don't know, 8 o'clock, 8 a.m. So nice push. This is a retest. I'd see if this one, if you could short it, go with the original reaction. That would be 120.77 if you could get in, and then I think your stops should be somewhere sitting, I don't know, 125.80. But initial reaction off the report, even though it's good numbers, was to the downside. I think I'd want to stick with that direction. I don't know what's being said on the conference call, but it was bought up since. Maybe a second opportunity for some people to get out that weren't quick enough as soon as those earnings were reported. We got AAL. They don't have earnings. I believe there was another plane crash, wasn't there? Unfortunately, I really didn't follow the news on that one too much. I was occupied with other things, but I believe there was a plane crash. Does it have to do with American? Is that the deal? Top value long term. Uh, Ted Cruz says key safety systems were turned off on helicopter that collided with jet. So another helicopter colliding with a jet. Is that the story for this one? Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on. In terms of the technical location of it, though, it is a retest from yesterday. You are hanging into support. If this, no, actually, we're below support. Yeah, we're below support. I'd see if we get a pullback. I don't think we get a pullback to 16.74. I'd be a little shocked if we did, but look for somewhere in the range of, I don't know, $16.60 if you want to go short. You're still really inside this big bullish candle, so some additional support's going to come in right around that $16 mark on this one. Small plane, the Motley Crue plane. Was it? Was it really them? Small plane, Arizona? Yeah, there was something in Arizona that I saw people were saying another just crazy 2025 for aviation. I'll tell you that much. Yeah, yeah. I don't. When was the last time we had a plane crash? And then this year we have three or four so far. It's kind of wild, but yeah. I don't know. There's a bunch of psychological support here. If he could clear through this candle, it's off to the races. Probably not a bad one to short if it could get bought back up a little bit more. And again, I don't know if it was American Airlines involved in the crash. I'm not sure if it was them, but if it was them and it's not really their fault, somebody crashed into them, this probably longer term might get bought back up. Wide open gap all the way down to like 1481 if you get there, but for a day trade purpose, a swing trade purpose, I'd probably have my targets down to like 1496. For a day trade purpose, not quite as sure. So I think you could get held up at 16. Still got about from open 44 cents, but if it could get bid up first, we get a little bit better risk to reward on that one. We got Baba, I think. Baba, and then the BBAI for Leonard. Baba, good gap up out of nowhere. Weren't they? I looked at them, I think, 2 seconds ago, and they were kind of gapping down. Is that true? Yeah. So I don't know if there was news that just came out at 9 a.m., but they just popped up. So different than when I just looked at them 15 minutes ago before I hopped on. Retest gap, you are into a little resistance. Let's see where that actual resistance is. If we could break through it. Right at it. 113.11. We're a couple pennies higher than it now. But this looks to me like a little bit of a retest. Potentially support on this one's 109.62, but good movement so far on this one. Front landing gear failure. Uh-huh. Well, that would be that could be an American Airlines issue. And then maybe is it a Boeing issue as well? I don't know if it was a Boeing plane. Boeing is down on that too, so all roads somehow lead back to Boeing. All skylines add back to Boeing, I guess. All right. Well, we got Another sad day for Tesla. Tesla is gapping down again, opening right at the 100, retest gap, lots of selling. Yesterday, we did see it open down as well. That one got bought back up as a retest gap. I imagine the path is very, very similar to what we just saw uh, on the other side of things. So we'll see. Otherwise, I still have my target somewhere down to 340.15. If that starts to break, the next real support 332.76 and 319.55. Again, severe downtrend. We broke out of. I do think at some point in the future, and maybe the path looks something like this, where we have. I don't know. Maybe we get down to this 340. That's a little bit of a bounce spot. Maybe we do get all the way back up here, and then we do something like this potentially. So there probably will be some shorts taking gains, and that 340 looks very interesting to me. But I do see maybe one more little potential gap fill-ish zone somewhere around 320. Very, very difficult to buy in strong, strong downtrends, which we are in at the moment. So we will have to see. We will have to see how that plays out. Otherwise, probably a retest gap at that 100 makes sense to that. There's probably some buyers looking to come in, and I think this is a fade the dip move today. And maybe it's today. Maybe today's the day we start and we actually get a couple buying green candles. But for right now, I think it would be a quick buy it open, play it bullish till you get that retest, and then see where it goes from there. Otherwise, longer term downtrend probably prevails and we go bearish. BBAI, Big Bear AI, just phenomenal move off of 362. You're gapping all the way at this point to 946, something like that. We got higher than that one. We got to 977. So massive move up. Again, I don't know. Is this something that's going to really play out? My big concern to this one, I think we have to get some closing above $10. That's where the warrants came in. So pre-IPO, they sell all the warrants. I'm not sure. Was this a SPAC? This could be. But any of those guys who, before this thing even IPO'd, had the opportunity for early shares, usually they have a certain time limit until they could sell. Maybe we're there, maybe we're not. I have to look into it. But if we're there, this is a lot of time that's passed. They were definitely down on their positions for a very, very long time on this one. That $10 is going to be a super strong resistance. So if we're talking risk to reward on this one, especially as we got the closer we get to it, 972, you might have some people jumping out around there. Even if they were adding shares here, they could jump out, still have their remaining shares, and kind of go from there. But I think you're going to get some kind of a pullback. Not a great location where we're opening, so still inside day. Probably gets bought up at open. Look for 868 for today as some type of resistance, and we'll see if we kind of move down. DOMH is now at $10.77. That keeps on keeping on. All right, I got Roku on the list for today. I haven't checked out Roku for a while. Roku is a retest gap, kind of in no man's land. I have first real support, I guess, sitting somewhere close to 83.58. It's not the strongest one. I think a little bit stronger would be 83.17. This was all retest gap. I don't know on Roku. Uh, Realistically, this one was the retest gap. So your confirmation, if you could break out of that, anybody selling gets the FOMO, they hop back in. You close at a decent spot, a little bit lower than I would like to see. So I do think you're probably looking at resistance today, 84.86. I don't know if you have a lot of room. If you think this thing could get to 81.31, which would be a big support for it, you have some dollars to the downside. Otherwise, I don't love playing a red candle when it's really just a retest gap to the bear side for continuation. I think I'd be looking for support to see if I could buy this thing back up because there was a reason we got here and we've been kind of just chugging along in a bullish direction for a while. So I would see if this one could get down to this 81.39. I think that gives me a good shot to play this one bullish or attempt to play this one bullish. and see if you can actually get some continuation for whatever caused that gap in the first place. Otherwise, even to the downside, there's a bunch of supports in here too. I think I'd stay away from this one, but retest gap if you're going to try to short as high as possible, 84.77. And my stop at least minimum would be 85.57. See if it's able to get above that or not. We will see. We got Apple, AAPL. Apple, uh, really a lot of consolidation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days inside this range following this just big bear drop or retest gap that just overextended its welcome into the retest direction. You still got support of the 200, but you've lost the 100, the 20, and the 50 so far. Decent location. Again, to buy it at open, I don't know. I don't see much edge here yet, but if you're going to try it bullish, I'd see if you could get as close as possible to 228.88. It is a gap and go, so it has some edge just inside day. I think this thing could get pulled back to 228.88 with potential targets. It's still not the easiest, but potential targets to 232.21. A few resistance in there, not many, but I guess your next big resistance is 230.05, and we did hit that one yesterday. So we will see. Look at Apple on a 3-minute chart. Yeah, I don't know if there was news. That was right at 9 a.m. So I'm not sure if news kind of came out on that one or not. Lucid saying I saw an article on Apple working with DeepSeek for as well for AI. Was that article dropped at 9 a.m.? Because that would explain it. Otherwise, I'm not sure why there was a pop, but that's a decent pop. According to this, so at least pre-market, we got 6 more minutes. Let's see if that pullback comes in like, well, this is 227.71. We were looking at what 228.88. And maybe if you want to try to take a break on this one, 230, buy it low, get as close to 228 as possible, somewhere in that zone. But all right, we'll put this one higher on the list. We'll see what this one wants to do. Again, 230. This is a 231 zone that we just got to. That's already into that resistance as well. They might be a little too sideways chop. Partnering for Asian phones, AI features for users in China. Gotcha. All right, DeepSeek is at it again. Deja vu. Coinbase, we did see crypto rallying a little bit, BTC USD this morning at least. Kind of gave a lot of it back already. Just talk about consolidation on Apple. Bitcoin's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, really 8, 9, 10 days in a row, which we haven't really done much. We're still at the lower end of it. Bunch of high waves. Bullish candle yesterday, broke a few decent resistance today at least. If this VPOC holds, which time will tell. But if today's VPOC or we could close back above 98,000, that would start to give us a little sentiment. Next resistance 99.27, and maybe that's just kind of just lots of consolidation with some bulls trying to step in. Otherwise, for right now, Bitcoin gave back any previous gains that we've already had. For Coinbase, Coinbase, I don't know. Inside day and resistance at 279.93, 277.27. Not a lot of things so far today is like, wow, this is a I have such a good edge on this one. KR, I think, is one of them. Shopify, maybe for some continuation. Lucian says if everyone's considering DOMH for a long-term hold, be very careful. They have 5 reverse splits in there. Yeah, I don't think it's well, I don't know. Maybe we'll see what happens. I don't think it's a long-term hold type play. But for a day that there's probably not a lot of news until CPI, and then you have some Trump family members hopping on their board. I don't know what the short float is of that one. Let's check that out real quick. Finviz, DOMH. Short float on that one is it's nothing. 0.43. So you're not going to get the squeezes of squeezing some shorts out on this one. but I think it's probably a news hype play for today. Maybe that carries into tomorrow if you're willing to hold. I don't think I would be willing to hold into tomorrow, but yeah, it's just them joining the board. Nothing else is really happening, but you have the Trump name behind it. All right, let's see which ones did I miss so far. Apple and Baba partnership. Oh, is that what it is? So Baba did pop around the same time Apple did as well. So that could be it, and that could also be in the um maybe that DeepSeek tied into it as well. All right, we got SoFi. SoFi, a buy at 15. Um, maybe. Uh, you have earnings. You still got some time, but you got what is that, May 5th earnings? So you got a few months till earnings come out. It is still relatively high at this point for me, and I think the play is Jerome Powell on this one. It's the lower interest rates. If and he hasn't come out, he hasn't really started getting more aggressive with, hey, yeah, we're definitely going lower. It's going to give us this little time to chop around a little bit. I don't think for me 15 would be the buy. If we get a more significant sell-off, give me like a 20% discount from here, and I'd be interested. Um, that being said, I think longer term, SoFi probably goes up higher. We were getting in at like close to 7, so for me to say I'm going to jump in at double that price, I'm already out. I've taken decent amount of gains on this one, but it's just hanging out. So you're just in this range chopping. You're toward the lower ends of this range. I think you got down to $14 a few times. I would see if I'd be patient on trying to jump in. I do think that if some of the other bigger banks, like the JP Morgans, those guys tried to pull Bank of America even, but if those guys pull back a little bit more, I think I'd rather go with personally for a long-term hold, at least some of the bigger banks. This one will have a growth story to it, but that maybe some of the other banks don't offer. Otherwise, it's still relatively new, and at this price, after it's up 100%, more than 100%, and has been higher, I think I would want to see a little bit more of a pullback on SoFi before really establishing any type of position on it again. Um, but we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. And then anytime their earnings comes out, their earnings have been good, but keep in mind, they do try to sell this thing like almost highly manipulated stock, where they try to sell it as soon as those earnings come out. That is the morning bell already. My goodness. Everybody on YouTube, like, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe buttons if you've not done so already. I almost couldn't even say it. I was so excited. But whew, you guys are incredible. And I will catch all of you guys tomorrow. Later, guys.